Many years ago, fresh out of law college, and in my case fresh out of IIT Bombay as a civil engineer, we were persons active in the social movements. My colleague Mihir Desai was active in the teachers' struggles for justice in the courts. My colleague Gayatri Singh was a leading labour activist, not only doing labour law work but also agitating for workers at the factory gates, giving speeches, supporting workers in their struggles for lockouts, strikes and so on. And I too was first a slum activist working against demolitions of slums, and later I joined a rather big trade union and I was active in that union for many years, on a princely sum of rupees 500 per month after an IIT degree for many years. We were not people who sat behind tables and expected workers would come to us asking for legal aid. That wasn't our perspective at all, that wasn't our way of functioning, that wasn't our orientation. We went out to people. Factory gates where strikes were taking place, lockouts were in place, rural areas where atrocities were taking place, people were being evicted. So we were in the thick of social movements, and that is how we came to the practice of law and human rights. It was also a period of great turmoil. The JP movement had spread across the country. Rapid political change and huge upheavals were taking place. George Fernandes had called the railway strike. Some of my colleagues in IIT Bombay, some of the students were photographed breaking the strike, driving the so-called locomotives, pretending to drive the engines and so on. Then there was a massive textile strike where people suffered enormously. So for me and my colleagues, this was a period of great learning, great churning. And it was the best education possible for us. We could never have got it from books. We could have never have got it from lectures. We got it from life itself. This is what the Human Rights Law Network actually means. It's a combative organization. It is not. We are lawyers, true, but it is not an organization of lawyers. It's an organization of young persons who aspire to be revolutionaries, to bring revolutionary change in society. In all aspects, women's rights, tribals' rights, housing rights, labor rights, Dalit rights, disability rights, people living with HIV and law, housing, health rights, environmental law and so on. It seeks to make revolutionary change in society through the use of the most powerful weapon, more powerful than any sword, more powerful than any gun, more powerful than any bomb, the Constitution of India. That is what we seek to do. That is how we started, that is how we are working today, and that is how I hope the Human Rights Law Network will remain for the rest of its life. A refuge for persons who would like to be revolutionaries. A refuge for people who want to do something different with their lives. Something dynamic. We are looking for little Che Guevaras. We are looking for people, Rosa Luxemburgs, let's say. People who really want to change the world. And law is one of the weapons to change the world. Today we live in times not very different from the times I lived in when I was a young student. Not very different. There is no Jai Prakash now, there is no George Fernandes now, there is no Datta Samant now who ran a very militant trade union from Bombay. And times are very dark. We are in Kali Yuga, where the forces of evil run and control society. But there are thousands of young revolutionaries coming up the ranks. wanting to work to change India, to make it once again a great nation from which pedestal it has fallen. It is one of the darkest times for India, where immorality has spread everywhere. Violence is there everywhere against the common people. Over half the country suffers from malnutrition, ill health, early death. Fear stalks the land. Everyone is terrified, speaking up, taking a stand, for fear that somebody is going to come and just knock you down. It is a great time for young people. Stand up. Maybe at the cost of your life. Maybe at the cost of your employment. Maybe you'll get thrown out of colleges and universities that are being dumbed down today by vice chancellors who don't allow their students freedom of speech and expression. But it is a great time for young people to take courage and rise up in the ranks of the leaders of New India and truly build the second national movement